So here we are for the part 2, describing that knife, and now no more rambling. Let's start and finish that video about that beautiful knife. So what do we have here? We have a knife from Todd Rexford, which is an injection. You know that Todd has like the epicenter, which is probably his first, I don't know, I would have to check the history of that, but his most common and one of the most acclaimed knife design that he made. It was the first, probably the first. I don't know. Then he has the Singularity. This one also very acclaimed and very nice design. He has a couple of others, but I would say that the three main design are the epicenter, the Singularity, and the injection. After he has the Gamma, he has also the I don't know, man. Help me with that. No, you cannot help me. I'm sorry about that. He's got the G. Okay, forget about that. Other model, but the main one, the three main one, I would say, are the injection, the epicenter, and Singularity. Okay, so this is the injection, and probably my favorite model because this one has a shape that I absolutely adore. I mean, it's such a nice EDC shape. We're going to talk about that. Of course, I'm not going to use that knife, but this one, actually, I use it. And this mini epicenter is one of the best EDC I've ever had. I absolutely adore this shape. I adore this design. Probably my favorite design of Todd. So, starting with the handle as usual, we're going to talk about the material first. And here, we're going to take some time to appreciate this hot hammered. You know that this is a special recipe that Todd has. Basically, it's not basically, I don't know, I mean, he puts some kind of heat, you know, on this titanium, because it's basically titanium. That's what it is. I mean, it's a piece of titanium, but the way he works with it, with his, I don't know how he hammered that, because he takes a hammer and he does that finish, and look at that. I mean, you have all those shades of colors. You have some blacks, you have some greens, some reds, some pink, all the colors that you have, and it's mesmerizing. You can spend the day to look at the finish of this hot hammered. It's incredible. The clip also is a hot hammered, which is a nice touch. Very nice, love it. And on standoffs, this is my best, I mean, the best configuration for me is to have a clip like that on standoff. I really adore that. So very nice finish on this hot hammered. Just adore it. Then you have bolsters that are in zirconium. At the time where he did that, the zirconium was not, it was kind of fancy. It was starting with the zirconium, you know. Today, a lot of people use zirconium, but man, how many people you know today that are able to do a zirconium that profound in black? Usually you're going to get some shades of coloring or whatever, I don't know. It's really rare to get a deep dark zirconium as this one, with a finish that is excellent. You see those lines that you have here? Look at that. Look at my finger, my greasy finger. It doesn't show. Most of the time when you're going to get a finish of the zirconium, you're going to get either a finish in satin, where you're going to see the traces of your finger, or you're going to get a matte finish, which probably is better for a better use. It's matte. I don't know. This way you don't have the traces of fingers. But how many times will you be able to have a finish like this one in satin, very shiny like that, and with, I mean, you don't see the traces of your fingers, which is something that I absolutely abhor above all on zirconium. Absolutely great finish at a time where not a lot of people were using zirconium. So first, very deep and dark black. Second, the finish is, to me, absolutely unique. And he uses zirconium also for those great, look at that. I mean, those are almost like if it was like PVD or a little black coating, something like that. This, my friend, are custom zirconium thumb stud. Look at that, and look at the precision of the drilling inside. When you know how difficult it is to work on zirconium, how all the pops that he makes and everything is, there's a disclaimer if you buy zirconium and say, you use it at your own risk, and you can, like make some kind of sparkles and burn the shit out of the house. So it's hard. It's a soft material, but it's hard to work on it with it. And look at the precision work that he does on those thumb studs. He uses also zirconium here as a standoff. And look how beautiful the standoffs are. You have a big one here. The phone is ringing. I'm not going to stop this video, that is for sure. The small standoff that you have here, my kids will help me with that. Sorry. Small standoff here and a big one here. That's absolutely beautiful. Look at that. That's what I like. I mean, again, I'm not going to be redundant with Tsu, but that's what I like also on the custom, being able to have every part of this knife being a custom. Everything from the thumb stud to the standoff to everything is done by hand and a single man operation, no machine, nothing. I mean, everything. This is a pure custom from Master Todd Rexford. You know what? Let's continue with the liners now. I told you that the zirconium was hard to work and to get a deep black like that. But look at that. What do you see on those liners? Of course, you see that they're kind of, matching well, all the knives. And that's because they're going to be black. That's also something that at that time when that knife was made, like 3 years ago, we didn't see a lot of black. Maybe Stan Wilson was doing that, or Frank Fisher probably starting to do that also, but not a lot of people were. It was a kind of almost a recipe of a couple of people that knew how to work and get black liners. But look at that. Todd Rexford at that time did already black liners that were matching perfectly, almost perfectly. I mean, it's really hard to tell that the material is different even between the zirconium here and the liners that are black. Absolutely insane, incredible. Those are the things that make this knife unique. First of all, of course, it's a one-off. He hasn't made any others. And those are the fact that makes this knife to me absolutely unique above all. Then you have this, how I am speaking about how the gap, there is no gap, between the scale and the bolster. When it's flush, it's a way to express your art or whatever. Look at that. Here you have a gap, but it's not, I mean, it's a big gap. Of course, it's done on purpose. There's a space here that is done on purpose. But look at that. I ended up, what genius is that? Not a lot of people. I mean, how many people will you see, how many a knife maker will you see making a gap like that? On purpose, of course. Look at that. It's absolutely even. I mean, it's an even place here. I mean, it's the same. It goes very even. The distance between the bolster and the scale is even on that side, and on the other one it's almost a duplicate. It's done so well that design wise, when you look at it, it creates some kind of space like that, and I don't want to imagine that knife with this, touching the bolster. It's just brilliant, because that is not something that I've seen done by any other maker, and that is something that makes also this knife unique for me. Then after that you have, look at this pivot, my friends. Look at that. I mean, it's totally, you don't, no hardware whatsoever here, nothing. It's beautiful. Then you have this pivot collar that is absolutely flush with the bolster, and then you have this very delicate touch of mokume. Look at this beautiful mokume. I absolutely love the finish of that mokume. That gives, that delicate touch, that accent here on the pivot brings so much more to that knife. So much more. I mean, I couldn't imagine what's in the mind of a genius like Todd. But when you do a knife like that, you have to be a genius. There is so much on this handle. You know, I don't want to talk about the ergos of this knife. The ergos are excellent. You have a guard here. It's a straight knife that feels perfectly in hand. I will never use that knife for sure. As my buddy Tsu said, that's the Mona Lisa for me. I just, keep it like that, fondle it, and that's it. But what a great knife. Yeah, I want to talk only about the art on this knife. The injection is the perfect EDC. Come on, man. You what better than that? I mean, as an EDC, that's a pure drop point, a very nice blade length. The ergos are fantastic. That's a user for sure. This is Mona Lisa. So I'm going to keep it like that. But the knife has also, that's what I like about knives. They're art pieces, but there is a function also. There's a mechanic in it, and the mechanics are insane. Look at this action. Boom, it pops open. Look at this engagement. It's absolutely perfect. I wouldn't want a knife that wouldn't have a nice mechanics. This knife has the best mechanics you can ever find. Look at this engagement. It's rock solid. No movement whatsoever, front to front, side to side. No stiffness on the lock. Look now at this centering. Spot on. The detent is unbreakable, as you can imagine, and the detent is perfect. As I said, it can be a strong detent for flippers, but for a thumb stud, you need to have a kind of a balance between the flipping action when you want to flick it and also when you want to deploy it smoothly like that. That knife is the smoothest thing you can have because it fires open like that when you want to flick it, and then you can deploy it very smoothly like that. This is something that you will achieve in a way that is way more challenging than for flippers, because for flipper you just need to have a strong detent as this one. But this, my friend, I don't want to imagine a thumb stud on this one, because that would, listen, I'm trying to take it, and it's impossible to disengage the blade. Really, literally impossible. Why? Because he put a way stronger detent on this one than on the other. But who cares? For this one, you just need to flip it. So you can put one of the strongest detent you can imagine. That will work. This one, it has to be balanced. So now I have only 3 minutes because I don't want to do a part 3. So let's speak about this beautiful blade. So as you can see, that's the lizard pattern from Mr. Chad Nichols. And you have this blade shape that is incredible. I cannot tell. I would say, Tsu said that it was a flat. I'd argue that, I think it's more of a hollow. Difficult to say because it's a Damascus, but I'm pretty sure it's a hollow. Look at this pattern. Tsu talked about that, but this is something that I also wanted to insist on. The way he does the finish, the way he does his etching, first of all, he didn't mention that, but you have a texture. Here you feel you have a texture on it. And also you have Tom Mayo that does that on his Damascus. I absolutely adore the texture when you can feel, the texture on with your fingers. That's something that I adore. But something that I love above all is the fact that, look at that, the black are not gray. They're not deep gray, they're black. And the satin part, they're not gray either, light gray, they're satin. So this is something that I found to be absolutely unique also. The way he's etching his Damascus, and both things, the texture and the finish. Deep black and deep satin. And this is incredible. Look at the shiny satin, this is something that I like about the Damasteel, because you have, this really light and shiny part of the Damasteel and the black, deep black. This is something that I like. But on Damascus, usually it's less, you know what I mean. I mean, the satin, they don't look as satin as this, and the black are not as black as this. So this is something that I absolutely adore. We are now at 14 minutes, something that I like. He put his name here and leave the blade sterile. We are now almost at 15 minutes. I'm going to leave it at that. The knife is superb, as you have seen. The mechanics are incredible. If you want to, somebody would want to use it and carry it, that would make a perfect EDC. For me, I'm gonna, contemplate it. play with it, fondle it. It's not going to be a painting on the wall, but it's not going to be also a knife that I'm going to carry and use as an EDC for sure. It's going to be an art piece that I'm going to enjoy watching it, that I'm going to enjoy playing with it, that's for sure. Not carrying it, I don't know. I have other knives for that. This knife, to me, I have to respect it. With all the things that I said about it, this is, to me, my grail, and I'm gonna leave it at that. It was a honor and a pleasure to do this video for you guys. I hope you have enjoyed those two-part video. I'll catch you very soon for another one. Bye-bye.